Taped from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
And I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
Hey, Darren, how you doing?
I'm good, John. I'm good. How was your earthquake? How did that go?
It was all right. Pretty uneventful. Yeah, we had a. I guess it's a minor earthquake. It was like a 4.8. They were saying, and the epicenter was somewhere here in New Jersey.
Yeah, is that minor?
Well, I know it's a scale of 1 to 10. I mean, and it didn't feel that bad, honestly. And everyone from California is like pussies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it really just shook for a few seconds. This was only my second earthquake ever, so I don't have a huge point of reference. So.
Really? Oh, you've been through. I've never been through an earthquake until now.
There was one that was, I guess it was about 10 years back or something here in Jersey, and it was another thing like that. It was just like real fast, and that was like my first ever earthquake. So I was like, by the time I realized it was an earthquake, it was like half over. So
wait, it was here in Jersey? I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
Huh? I don't recall that. All right. Yeah, I thought that. I don't remember that. But yeah, when it happened on Friday, that was the first time I've ever been through an earthquake. Because I was working from home, and then the whole, my whole apartment shook, and then I thought for a minute, like, oh, somebody must be moving something upstairs. Then it shook a little harder.
Right.
Then I was like, oh, maybe there's a truck going by, and then it shook even harder, and I was like, all right, that's an earthquake.
Yeah, that was kind of my experience too. It was like, oh yeah, is there something? What's happening? Why are the windows rattling? And but nothing like fell off tables or shelves or anything like that. So all things considered pretty minor. And we had like a little aftershock later in that day, I think around 5 o'clock or something like that.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, nothing too bad out here. Just people were, of course, because I follow a lot of comedians, people were making a lot of earthquake jokes almost immediately on social media.
Inside a half hour. Yeah.
Yes, very much. We comedians, we get them out quick.
And I'm proud of mine still. I don't think I saw it duplicated by anybody else. I joked that the earthquake was a 5 on the Richter scale, and I had a photo of Andy Richter as the quintuplet Richter brothers from Arrested Development, and I didn't see anybody else doing that. So
you are unique in that respect, good sir. That was a thinker. That was a quality one right there.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm very proud.
Yes, but we're not here to talk about earthquakes, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to talk about the latest episode of Saturday Night Live.
Yes, we are. And the latest episode at our time of recording is season 49, episode 16 from April 6th, 2024, with Kristen Wiig as the host, her 5th time hosting, and Raye as the musical guest.
Kristen Wiig coming back 5 times. And, thanks to our good friends at the SNL network, I found out that she is the 5th former cast member to be inducted into the 5-Timers Club.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can name the others. We got our Tina Fey.
Bam.
We got our Bill Murray.
Bam.
Chevy Chase.
Medium talent.
Okay, that's 3.
One more.
Oh yeah, there's only one more. Oh geez, who else? Who else does Lauren have a big crush on?
10 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know. Pass.
So close. Will Ferrell. We were looking for Will Ferrell. Johnny, tell him what he could have won.
What am I supposed to tell myself?
Yes. Tell yourself what you could have won.
The peace of mind that comes with knowing that inconsequential bit of trivia.
Bam! There it is.
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig came back 5th time hosting. Expectations were pretty high, I'd say. She's a beloved cast member. People really love looking forward to her. Of course, her time on the show, she was like a big deal, America's sweetheart, some would say. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. For the most part, I think I think she kind of lived up to the hype on this episode. Like, I'll give you a little peek at my sheet. I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. I'll say.
She did a nice job. I think it was a generally pretty solid episode of SNL. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
Um,
yeah.
so
But
that's our episode this week, folks.
we're done. Follow
We enjoyed
me.
it. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, follow us SNL Nerds Show. Oh, this is a quick one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes you just cut to the chase, right?
Yeah. No, we gotta talk about each episode. Come on, we gotta show our
Okay,
work.
fine.
Gotta show our work
All
and
right.
show why
Yeah.
we
I
like
mean,
it.
otherwise, how are people supposed to know what their opinions are supposed to be?
Exactly. How will people know what to think if we don't tell them?
Yeah. We're doing the Lord's work here.
Yes, you're welcome, America. Amen.
All right, so let's dive in. Well, starting out, we got the TBS March Madness Cold Open. Uh,
Yeah. March Madness is upon us.
mm-hmm,
NCAA, basketballs, sports, and
mm-hmm,
the like. And we go into JAJ as Ernie Johnson, Devin Walker as Kenny the Jet Smith, and of course Keenan as Charles Barkley, all talking about March Madness, but they're having a hard time doing that because even though they got to talk about the men's college basketball, what they really want to talk about is the women's tournament right now because that seems to be the big news that's out there. Like the women's
right.
tournament is getting like record numbers in viewers, and a lot of people are invested in it right now.
Yeah, yeah. There's a breakout player, Caitlin Clark, who's been making some very impressive moves and plays. I don't know. I
I,
don't watch March Madness, but I've seen Caitlin Clark pop up on my socials, so
I
I
love,
know that.
yeah, I love trying to hear you do like sports talk. Like she's
I
been
was
moved.
like, plays? That's not the right word. Uh,
Touchdowns? Is that it? Tackles?
I don't know. Yeah, she made like some long passes and I
Yes.
guess scored a bunch or
She,
something. I
she
don't know.
got
She
yeah.
did something impressive.
She got the golden snitch. I don't know.
She got the golden ticket, so she's getting to tour that the Wonka Chocolate Factory,
Yes.
and Willy Wonka is going to leave the whole shebang to her.
If you want to
Because
be paradise.
yeah, because all the other players turned into blueberries and stuff.
Yes, of course. Oompa loompa doopity doo.
Yes, that's my understanding of it. We also had Heidi as Coach Kim Mulkey, who I assume is a real person.
Yeah, I've seen her again, social media, but she's the women's
Yeah.
coach at LSU, and she's known for being very like kind of hard and tough on her players. But she also is known for dressing very like flashy and kind of flamboyantly and loud colors on the
Yeah,
sidelines.
okay. She said this thing. She said she had this line. She said, that like she went into a store and said, "Make me look like the Riddler went to Talbot's." And I just thought that's a really weird thing to say when you're all in pink because the Riddler
Yeah,
doesn't wear pink. But
yeah, that's true. But like if you Google her name and look at the outfit she wears very kind of like she has all these kind of lady suits, but they're all like different crazy colors, like almost like
mhm.
Harlequin like. Like
Okay,
she stands out. She's
okay,
like
all right. Yeah,
so
I
that's
figured it was something like that. I was just
yeah.
like, but the Riddler, his predominant color is green. This premise is based on a lie.
Yeah, that I'll admit that joke is not the
As a
strong.
comic geek, it bugged me.
Yeah, no, I mean I get that joke isn't the strongest. I mean, if we're being totally honest, a lot of the jokes in this cold open aren't the strongest.
I didn't care for it, and part of that, of course, is that if you're doing a sketch about March Madness, it's not really going to speak to me. But I also just didn't think it was especially funny.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like I mean, the same way on last week's episode where I talked about how, oh, as soon as I see a PDD sketch or a weekend update, I know 9 times out of 10 it's going to be strong. I had
Right?
that exact opposite reaction with the cold open. Whenever I see the cold
Oh,
open, I know it's like, all right, this is going to be probably the weakest sketch of the night, and sure enough, it is.
yeah. Well, I mean, hey, at least it wasn't another political cold up, and that's something, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least this cold open is short. It's like a five. It's not even 5 minutes. Like 4 minutes 50 seconds. Um, I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny when Charles Barkley was googling Vegas women's spread to see like if the
Yeah,
team would
he was
cover
like,
the spread.
"Oh, that was not what I was expecting." Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, this sketch kind of felt like it was written by somebody who doesn't know much about sports. Like so maybe one of us. But
Oh, sure. Yeah.
but
Seems
yeah,
likely.
but yeah, like the jokes just really it just didn't feel strong enough. I mean, I get the basic premises. Oh, women's basketball is cool now, and men's college basketball is kind of passe. But that seemed to be the only thing they had to say in this sketch, and they really didn't
Yeah. Yeah.
like the joke. I really didn't write much about this because the jokes really were kind
Me
of
neither.
falling
Yeah.
flat for me, and not the strongest cold open. So already I'm like, oh dear. All right, well,
Oh
but like
dear.
but I am
You're
happy
like,
to.
oh, we bet. If we have some celebrity cameos, I bet that'll elevate this episode. But
Well,
what are the chances of that happening?
yeah, well, your prayers have been answered because here we go,
Okay.
monologue.
Got Kristen Wiig coming out. She acknowledges that it's her fifth time hosting right off the rip. I like that she said, that she checked in with the band. She had like the piano player and the drummer, and then she was like, and Lenny, how are you doing? He's like, I'm all right.
That was a nice little gag too.
It's a dumb joke, but damned if it didn't get me. I
It,
liked it.
I no, I laughed too. There's no shame in that, John. We
No, I mean, I was just like, hey, Lenny, get some dialogue. Nice.
Yeah, I just like the fact that she acknowledged the band because I think because like the band is there in the background night after night, but like people
Yeah.
kind of they're just kind of people know they're there, but they just kind of people just don't really acknowledge them or kind of see them. They're just kind of like
Yeah, that's
wallpaper.
true. They are, some of the unsung heroes of SNL. And, they're not just playing the music going in and out of the commercial breaks, they're also covering the music in sketches. So it's got to be a demanding job.
Yeah, so it's nice that she gave a shout out to Sean Pelton on drums. I'm looking this all up right now, and
Nice.
Toughest Zimbabwe on keyboards.
Oh, that's a great name. That's a
Yeah,
great name right there.
Toughest Zimbabwe.
Don't you
That's
wish you were named Toughest Zimbabwe?
every day of my
I mean,
life.
he sounds like he should be like a soccer player or something
He
with
really
that
does
name, but
play like Manchester United or something.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes, and of course the great Lenny Pickett.
Yeah.
He got a line in, so that was fantastic.
Yeah. He's been with the show forever. He seems like a cool dude.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So we have
But
Kristen Wiig talking about, it's her fifth time hosting, and then, of course, popping up in the audience, we got Paul Rudd. We got a bearded Paul Rudd. He's wearing his Five Timers Club jacket. He's like,
bam.
hey, are you doing one of those sketches with all sorts of celebrity cameos? Because I haven't gotten a script or anything. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, no, I don't think we're doing that. And he's like, okay.
Mm, sad Rudd.
Yeah, sad Rudd. Then we
Yeah.
got Paula Pell,
Bam.
ex SNL writer Paula Pell, now beloved actress Paula Pell. Paula
I,
Pell, she should host the show, right?
dude, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think it's time we get Paula Pell to host this thing. At least
That would be a lot of fun.
if she wants to. If she wants to do it, I'd say it's like again, like I know it's a thing where people who have written on SNL they rarely get to host, but I mean we've already
Yeah,
had like Conan has hosted, of course
hmm
Mulaney.
yeah,
Let's get it. It's time for and of course Tina Fey, but she was on it. But yeah,
yeah.
let's get Paula Pell in there. Paula Pell
Yeah,
all the way.
yeah. I think she would be a smashing host, and she could come out, do a monologue, and do like a montage of all her asking questions from the audience. And I like
Yes.
how she played that. She was like, yeah, well, I'm actually a writer on the show, but I'm going to pretend to be an audience member. So Kristen's going to pretend that she doesn't know me, and she says that after she's been introduced as Paula Pell, which was cute. Um, I also liked her line about how they basically hand out the Five Timers jackets to everybody like free maxi pads.
Right, exactly. So that's the premise of the cold open, as we learned that like now the five timers jacket doesn't really mean as much as it used to because Lauren just kind of gives them out to anybody.
Yeah,
As
yeah, I liked that because I was kind of thinking going into this, I was like, oh, what else can they do with the Five Timers Club at this point? Because they've done so many variations on it for like, geez, over 30 years at this point. Because they
mm,
introduced it, I think, sometime around the late 80s, early 90s.
yeah, like I think
Um,
like Tom Hanks was the first one to do that, right? Like the
yeah,
club
yeah.
and yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Robert Smigel was actually posting on Twitter that he and Conan O'Brien co-wrote the first Five Timers Club sketch.
Wow. Damn.
Um,
Fantastic.
and it was just a bit where it was Tom Hanks talking about how hosting for the fifth time is significant, and it just somehow caught people's fancy and it became a thing, and now it's become an expected thing. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, how much more life does the Five Timers Club have in it?
I don't know,
I
man.
wonder.
We'll explore. We'll explore and learn together.
Um, yeah, but yeah, we have Matt Damon popping up.
Yeah,
Of
he
course,
has it.
audience.
Yeah, he has the jacket, even though he's only hosted twice.
Yeah, but Lauren said that his first time counted for 3 and his second time counted for 2. That's what a good host he is.
That's right. The math adds up. Math is
Yep,
mathin'.
it all works out, and then and then like we have a cutaway, and she's like, "Oh wow, it seems like everybody's getting a Five Timers Club jacket." And then we have a cutaway to Fred Armisen, John Hamm, Will Forte, Martin Short, all standing with Lauren, and they're all wearing Five Timers Club jackets.
Yeah, that blew my. I was like, "Whoa, what's?" We're getting all the cameos here tonight.
Yeah, even though none of them have hosted the show 5 times.
Nope.
They're like, oh yeah, but if you add us up all together, we've hosted 5 times. And
Yeah.
and Fred Armisen's wearing a very ill-fitting jacket.
Yeah, it's almost like a vest on him.
Yeah, John Hamm points out that he's hosted 3 times, or the last time in 2010. And really, we need to bring John Hamm back because he was a pretty spectacular host, as I
He
recall.
he was a solid host. I mean, dare I say, he might have maybe could have even been a cast member.
He's that good. He is that good and that handsome and that charming. I
Yeah.
want I want 2 things. I want actually let me amend that. I want 3 things. I want Paula Pell to
Okay.
host SNL. I want John Hamm to come back and host SNL, and I want John Hamm to do another Fletch movie or two.
Yes, and then I want all the children in the world to hold hands
Right,
on Christmas Eve.
right, and then
World
that
peace.
uninterrupted 31-day orgasm thing. Let's get on that.
And death to all my enemies. They should burn like dogs in hell.
Yes.
We get each other, John. We get each other.
Yeah, but that was fun. It's fun seeing the cameos, and it's fun seeing Martin Short like genuinely cracking up Lord.
I think I saw like our good friend Minute Marathi
Yeah,
mention that, like how like Lauren's been in this business for 50 years. He's been around every type of comedian, but Martin Short can still crack him up.
yeah,
Like at this late stage in the game. That just speaks to the magic of Martin Short.
yeah, yeah, and it's just fun to see Lauren genuinely losing it because you never really see that.
No, he's very stoic.
Yes. So Matt Damon comes on stage. He offers Kristen his jacket, um, and and then he's presented with another jacket because he did a cameo as Brett Kavanaugh a few years back.
Yeah, it's like, oh, remember Kavanaugh? And they just gave him a
Yeah.
jacket. And it's like,
Remember
oh
when we
no.
put that rapist on the Supreme Court?
Remember that?
Hey,
That was crazy.
hey.
Wild times, wild times.
But he keeps calendars, so therefore he can't rape.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm still salty about that.
Yeah, no, as you should be, as we all should be.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but I like, he gets another jacket and he's like, oh, this is great. I can give it to my daughter.
give it to my kids.
Yeah.
But then like we see Kristen being despondent. We're like, oh, this jacket doesn't mean anything now. Like you just give it out, and then we see Matt trying to make her a little bit happy by saying, oh yeah, no, aren't you like the youngest 5-timer in the club? And she's
Right.
like, well, no, because Emma Stone was here a few weeks ago. She's actually it. And then
Right.
Matt is like, well, aren't you the first woman in the 5-timers
Like,
club?
I literally just said Emma Stone.
And then he says, well, maybe you're the first French woman?
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, I'm not French at all. But although, after seeing this is like a little bit of foreshadowing for our 10-1 now that I think about it.
Yeah, true. This episode has layers.
Absolutely.
And then all the guys they sing a song about how she deserves a jacket. Although Paula Pell doesn't get up there for some reason. I don't know what that was about.
What's that about?
I guess because she wasn't wearing a 5-timer jacket. She was just dressed as Paula Pell. Maybe that was it.
Maybe, I guess.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I just answered my own question.
There you go. But yeah, as they sing to her and serenade her, tell her how great she is, I think at the last minute, Will Forte looks to his side like, "Oh my God, is that Ryan Gosling?" Cut
Yeah.
to Lauren giving Ryan Gosling, next week's host, a five
Yes.
timers jacket.
Yeah, and he's like, "Is this okay? I haven't even hosted 3 times." And Lauren's like, "Oh no, no, it's fine. Here."
Just take it.
Yeah, and then Ryan Gosling, of course, gets up on stage on home base and presents Kristen with her jacket.
Oh,
Yeah, so this was cute. I mean, it's always it's really gratuitous when we have all those celebrity cameos, but it's kind of become an expected thing in the Five Timers Club sketches, and I like that they had a decent twist this time, where the premise is that the Five Timers Club is getting really devalued because there are like probably a couple dozen people in it now.
I believe I'll look it up. I know SNL, SNN
Yeah,
rather put up a thing, but yeah, like I will.
it's getting in
I'll
that neighborhood at the very least.
yeah, but I'll co-sign what you said. Like normally, I'll be like, I kind of roll my eyes, like, oh, another cameo filled cold open. What is this? But like, I do like the fact that they had like a bit of a twist on it,
Yeah,
and I don't know. All the guys up there seem to be having fun. I enjoy all those guys, and of course, Kristen Wiig. So
yeah,
this is
and they
what.
all they all seem to have genuine affection for Kristen Wiig too.
Yeah,
So
and it was like a genuinely fun, funny cold, monologue, and the fact,
mhm.
like you said, like they had that little twist on it, made me kind of be like, okay, all right, I'll
Yeah,
overlook my.
we're not made of stone, people.
Yeah, John Hamm and Paul Rudd. I mean, come on, and
Yeah,
Forte and Short.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, my
and
God, man,
Armisen
and
and
yeah,
Paul
he's a
Appel and
yeah,
and and Ryan Gosling. I mean, he's a beautiful, beautiful man. He's got
yeah,
Kinergy.
yes. I mean, look at those cheekbones. I mean, Maron.
Yeah, I mean, how great was he at the Oscars? Seriously.
Ooh wee, very
Anyway,
nice.
yeah. So this was fun. This was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Good monologue. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're back on track. Here we go.
Yep. 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 Um, First sketch, Jumanji. We got like a little dinner party thing going on.
Uh,
Uh, Dismukes is introducing his new girlfriend to his friends.
oh no, it's J actually.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Dismukes. Well,
Okay.
Dismukes plays a significant part in this sketch. That's why. I
Oh,
was
indeed.
picturing James Austin Johnson in my head, and then Dismukes came out of my mouth. I don't know why. Yeah.
Dirty.
But Dismukes, who's the host, he's like, "Hey, I've got this new board game we can try. It's called Ticket to Ride, and it's a train themed board game."
Yeah,
And
it's an actual board game too.
oh, is it?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe I played it with some friends of mine at a house party or something. But yeah, this board game actually exists.
We used to get together occasionally and play the board games.
Oh, we did do that, like back in the
We
before times.
Yeah, we did. It kind of fell off after COVID and lockdown and all that, and we never really got back to it with our friends who we would get together and play with. And um, yeah, unfortunately, our friend Matt got Jumanji'd, so that was
Yeah.
that was kind
R.I.P.
of a bad thing. We try not to talk about it a lot, but
We love you, Matt.
yeah,
Thinking of you.
yeah.
Pour out a little liquor for
Big ups to our friend and buddy Matt Jenkins,
no
who we should
diggity.
have on the show sometime.
We should. We gotta
We
maybe
gotta
like
figure it out. It's
yeah,
yeah.
like maybe a
Anyway,
movie we all like. But anyway, yeah. So we find out like Dismukes wants to play a board game with everybody called Ticket to Ride.
yeah,
Everybody's into it except for Kristen Wiig's character. Um, and the JJ explains no, she has this thing about board games. She's not into them.
yeah.
She doesn't like them
She
because
says,
yeah, she's not. She doesn't have a fear of board game, but she, like you said, is afraid of being Jumanji. And I like the fact as soon as she says that, everybody like in the audience understood what she meant.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I like how they got kind of sidetracked into like, oh well, that was a video game, and they're like, we're not talking about the new Jumanji, we're talking about the original Jumanji
The
with
true
Robin
Jumanji.
Williams. And
Talking about the true Jumanji.
yeah, and then Dismukes goes on to this whole tangent where he's arguing that Jumanji comes out of the game. That's being Jumanji. That's not being sucked into the game, which is what most people think of as Jumanji.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, I do love the heightening of this sketch where, like, she
mhm.
talks like like I said, like she's talked about how she has this very, very big fear of being Jumanji'd. I think Bowen, who's also there, it's like, well, that's a made up thing that doesn't really happen. She says,
Yeah.
you don't know that,
You
and
can't prove that. Yeah.
yeah, and like she genuinely has like a strong concern about this, about being Jumanji'd, and everybody's coming at her about how ridiculous it is to have this fear of being Jumanji. And it's like,
Yeah.
it almost reminded me of like the Weezer sketch with Matt Damon, where they were
Hmm.
having this big argument over something that's so ridiculous, but like,
Intensely trivial. Yeah.
yeah, it's a kind of, it's a ridiculous, trivial thing, but they're having this really heated, passionate discussion
It's
about it.
life and death. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like they're talking,
Yeah. I when I first watched this, I wasn't too nuts about it because I was like, I like the idea of this, but it just became everybody saying Jumanji a lot.
there was that too, but I don't know.
And but it grew on me the second time I watched it. When I watched it the second time for the podcast, I was like, you know what, this is pretty solid.
Yeah, I think also like the way Kristen Wiig was selling it helped it too. Like
Hmm.
talking about, yeah, Jumanji is a number of jungle emergencies. Jungle,
Yes.
we are not prepared for that. We don't have the resources for that. And like you're all talking to me like I'm crazy, like I'm a nut, that I don't want to get Jumanji.
Yeah, yeah. And a thing that really elevated the sketch for me too was at the end they open up the Ticket to Ride game, and then Will Forte comes out as like an engineer, an old fashioned train conductor, um,
Right.
and he just leans into the absurdity so hard that really kicked it up another notch for me. And
Yeah.
and he's also like, okay, I'm going to suck everyone into the game except for you, Kristen Wiig, because you specifically said you didn't want to get Jumanji.
You
So
are free
here
to
you
go.
go. And I
I
like that they had the gates, come down like at a train crossing.
Oh yeah, the train crossing
Yeah,
dividers. Yes,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really liked this sketch quite a bit. I also liked how Dismukes was kind of bringing his own like heightening energy into the sketch too. She was almost match. He was. I would say he. I don't say almost. I would say he was. I would say he was matching Kristen Wiig, like as far as
hmm,
heightening the situation too. Like you said, like he was
yeah,
talking about. Well, no, well actually with Jumanji, the Jumanji comes out. Jumanji comes out. We don't.
yeah,
No
yeah,
one
yeah,
goes into Jumanji. So are you afraid of things coming out of Jumanji, or are you afraid of getting Jumanji in to Jumanji?
yeah,
And then of course she's like, well, no, Robin Williams got sucked in the game. He's like, all right, one guy in the history of Jumanji got sucked in. Everything comes out, and like it was this whole thing where,
yeah,
like you said, like they were saying Jumanji over and over and over again, but like everybody was just like really serious about this trivial or seemingly silly thing about Jumanji, and like heightening it like it's almost like they're talking about politics or some shit,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that made it like so damn funny. This one,
Yeah, and I think it was like a pretty perfect use of Will Forte at the end and his unique energy too. Um,
yes, absolutely.
I it did make me kind of wish that we could have had another uh, thing with that used Dismukes and Forte because I feel like their comedic voices would mesh very well because they're both very odd and off the beaten path, and I'd
Mm.
just like to see a big Dismukes Forte sketch.
Um, you know what? I'll co-sign on that
Yeah,
for
and I
sure.
know it wasn't Forte's show, so we
Right.
couldn't really expect to see more of him than we did. But
Yeah,
I was
like
just like, I really want to see those two together. I bet they could make something really cool and
you know,
something like we haven't seen before.
yeah, like maybe. I mean, I would say like before this show tonight, like that probably might not have happened because like the first time
Hmm.
Forte hosted, it wasn't that great an episode, but I think in like on this episode, on Kristen Wiig's episode of all episodes, like we saw like the Forte that we wanted to see when he hosted, like
Yeah,
in the monologue, in this sketch, and of course in another sketch coming up, we were like, oh, that's the Forte we wanted. That's the
yeah. We
like so
watch him just breeze in, be weird, and
yeah,
fuck off quickly.
exactly.
I guess.
That's so who knows? Maybe because he was so well received in this episode, maybe they'll bring him back to host in the future. I don't know, but I would like to see a Forte Dismukes mashup,
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I really like the sketch. I'm gonna say for me, probably sketch of the night.
Hmm.
There are a couple that come. I don't know. There's some other strong contenders, but we'll get into it. But I
Yeah, I
enjoyed
don't
the
know.
sketch quite a bit.
I'm looking through my list right now. Yeah, I'm still not sure. I'm still not
Hmm.
sure. Maybe I'll figure it out over the course of this episode. We'll
Okay,
see.
let's go into it.
So next we got a pre-tape. We got Pilates. This was we got Molly and Chloe Feynman, and they're going to a Pilates class, and it's cut like a movie trailer, like shot like a horror movie, and
Yeah, like a Bloomhouse thing.
yeah, yeah, and they're just like, oh, there's this device that it looks like it could be a torture device, and maybe also a sex device,
Yeah,
and
I mean it's basically like all the things you associated with Pilates classes, but made to look like a horror film
mhm.
type of pastiche.
Yeah,
Like
because
who do you?
it's so hard to get the hang of it, and it
Yeah,
seems so advanced, and we got 8 gorgeous women, one gay man not wearing underwear, and
and Kaya Gerber, who
who I guess is a name I'm supposed to recognize.
I didn't know who that was either till I looked it up. So did a little research. Like yeah, because like it was like a very random person to mention. Like who is that? Why is she in here?
Hmm.
So Kaya Gerber apparently is a model slash actress and is the daughter of Cindy Crawford. And
Oh wow, okay.
she's also in Palm Royale with Kristen Wiig. And she's going to be in the new SNL 1975 film coming out. I think she plays, I believe, Carlin. Not George Carlin, but like, shoot, let me look it up. But yeah,
Well, yeah,
she's going to
well,
be
yeah,
the
it was
1975.
Carlin's wife, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, so she's
Yeah.
going to be
Okay.
there. And
Huh.
before you ask people, yes, 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 Kaya Gerber did date Pete Davidson.
Wow, this was a journey.
Yeah, that's what it said in Wikipedia. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think I even knew that Cindy Crawford had kids. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Was that when she was with Richard Gere? They were like married for a while, right?
Possibly, yeah. So yeah, Kaya Gerber, she's playing Jacqueline Carlin in the
Okay.
SNL 1975.
Huh.
So yeah, I mean it ends up
I find this fascinating now. Okay, I was just
yeah.
like, oh well, it's somebody that they name that they presume I know, and I do not.
Yeah, I mean she was in the film Bottoms recently with
Okay.
Ayo Edebiri and whatnot. But yeah, it was a very random cameo to just throw in there. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I guess it's because she's in the Apple TV show with Kristen Wiig. But yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is.
They
And it
obviously
was
know each other.
yeah, yeah, and it was also quick enough that it wasn't super distracting. I guess.
No, it was. I was just like, oh, who's that? Oh, I don't know. Okay, we're on to the next thing.
Yes, very much so. Um, yeah, yeah. Wait, so let me see who's. Oh yeah, no. Her dad isn't. Her dad is Randy Gerber,
Oh
businessman
wow.
named
Well,
Randy.
that checks out. Same
Yep,
last name and stuff.
yep.
Any relation to the Gerber baby food people?
Um, no, Randy Gerber founded the tequila brand Casamigos alongside actor George Clooney.
This thing is just taking so many turns.
This is-
What the hell, man?
I know it's
A 5 second cameo on SNL. We got Cindy Crawford's daughter who's dating Pete Davidson, and her dad founded a tequila company with George Clooney. What the hell? What is going
yeah.
on?
No, no.
This is crazy pants.
So she dated Pete Davidson. I think yeah, it was like literally for like a year. Then she dated Jacob Elordi, and looks like she's currently dating maybe Austin Butler. So she likes tall,
Okay.
lanky dudes.
Okay.
So, so shoot your shot, Dev Patel.
All right.
Oh yeah, Pilates. Yeah, the sketch. What do we think?
It was okay. I liked how Molly got kind of transformed into one of them, like a pod person or something. Um,
Yeah,
where Molly was her character was their character was hey Mamacita. Um,
yeah.
it was okay. It didn't send me in a big way, but it was quick and it passed the time agreeably enough.
Yeah, I agree. It was. I thought it was okay. It was kind of. I mean, I'm not really super familiar with Pilates classes. Like, I
Yeah.
really, honestly, if I'm being honest, I didn't quite know what Pilates was until I saw the sketch.
Hmm.
I thought it was like maybe like a jazzercise type of thing, but apparently not. But yeah, so like I wasn't too familiar with all the terminology. So like, I mean, this got kind of caught me up. But yeah, like I didn't think the jokes were super strong. The one I did kind of get a kick out of was when they were doing a class with 1 pound weights, and
Hmm.
Punky was like 1 pound weights. That's gonna be nothing. Cut to
Yeah.
her
And
like,
then cut to her being covered with a sheet.
yes, her dead on the floor. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I
Yeah.
hate it
That
when
was
they
cute.
die like that.
Yeah. And we also have cutaways to like Sarah sort of like telling Chloe Feynman like how horrible and horrifying it is. It I don't know. This is one of those things I probably found more interesting from a technical standpoint than from a humor standpoint. You know,
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like
it was well shot, it was well put together,
yeah,
and
yeah, I would agree with that. Overall, I thought it was okay, but definitely nothing to write home about.
yeah. All right, next sketch we got secretaries. This is a bit of a return with Heidi Gardner's character. She's done this at least once before, I believe.
Yes, she did this on the Pete Davidson episode earlier this season.
Oh, and appropriately enough, we've got John Hamm, Mad Men star John Hamm, in
Mm-hmm.
there, and he of course slips right into place
That's right.
because he's playing a very Don Draper type. He comes out with Bowen and his who's just hired his firm, and he's like, "Oh well, I have my secretary Trudy here who gets things wrong 50% of the time, so I hired a second secretary who also gets things wrong, and
Yeah,
we've got Trudy and Tootie."
right.
Um,
So yeah, so basically like another Trudy, and we see Kristen Wiig just dressed just like Trudy and
mhm,
getting things wrong like Trudy.
yeah,
Like at one point,
talking
uh,
talking in that old fashioned voice
yeah,
like Trudy.
hey there, boss, what's going on? What's the skinny
Yeah,
fellas?
and they offer to make them a bourbon on the racks, which
Yeah.
is not like on the rocks. This is they are mixing the bourbon by holding the shaker between their chests,
Yes.
and they start like sort of just shaking to mix the drink, and then they're like, "Oh wait, do you want it stirred?" And then they just sort of start oscillating instead.
Yes, very much so. I think at one point, John Hamm asks Trudy, like, "Oh, Trudy, Can you pick up?" And then she finishes a sentence for her, saying, "Oh, your son from daycare." And then she proceeds to pull a baby out of a filing cabinet.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so
Um,
that that just lets you know where this sketch is. This is just
yeah.
a big old silly time.
We're getting nice and absurd. Trudy and Tootie also warm a panini between their butts.
Mm. Panini, that's a sandwich of the future.
Yeah, and I like that when Tootie collapses onto the desk doesn't really give away properly. It doesn't
Yup.
collapse the way it should, which is kind of hilarious and makes the actors break a little bit.
Yeah.
It kind of like half caves in, and then so Kristen Wiig has to like kind of basically throw herself on it again to make it collapse the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, like the first time she did it, like yeah, halfway filmed it, and so she had to like, up, and she had to like jump up again and break it.
Yeah, and like Heidi Arter seemed to have similar trouble when she had to fall through the wall towards the end of the sketch. It didn't seem to be collapsing as strongly as it should have. So
Yeah, because like I think at the towards the end, she somehow her top flies off into space, and she has a globe land on her head,
yeah,
and so I think
which I think something like that happened in the first sketch too.
yeah, in the first sketch, her
I vaguely remember her losing some clothing. So
yeah, you do, but yeah, that's
I
disgusting.
was trying to say it in a non creepy way,
I I was not.
and you were covering the creepy side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, all right. But yeah, then yeah, like that was pretty hilarious too. Like where she's supposed to fall through the wall behind her, but that doesn't
Right.
quite give way, so she kind of
Yeah.
like gets stuck with the globe on her head halfway through the wall.
And it kind of comes off her head, and I don't know if
Yeah,
that was supposed to happen.
it
And
was not.
it's fun to see the cast breaking a bit.
Yeah,
But it wasn't like it in a totally intrusive way. I mean, it was just a fun like you can't predict this sort of way.
yeah.
I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the old fashionedness of it. I enjoyed the absurdity of it. I'm a sucker for things where people are talking like this, like an old 1940s movie. See,
Yeah. Hey there, the big palooka. I'll show you what for.
yeah. I mean, that was fun. I wouldn't mind seeing them do another one of these. I suppose if they
Yeah,
could find another twist on it.
I think this might have worked better than the Pete Davidson one, just because, like, with Kristen Wiig and her energy
Hmm.
balancing off of Heidi and her energy, that seemed to. I don't know. I thought this
Yeah,
was funnier than the first time
they
they did
played
it.
off each other very well, and
Yeah,
yeah, and it gave it a new twist, and it gave them a little extra oomph. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Like this definitely. I mean, it's definitely like a Gonzo, really ridiculous, silly sketch, but like,
Hmm.
and just absurd beyond absurd. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I just leaned into the absurdity, and of course the fact that none of the breakaway props worked the way they were supposed to. Just
Right.
I got an extra chuckle out of that.
Yeah. I guess the crew did their job a little too well.
Yes, yeah, exactly. This is yeah, but
uh,
yeah. So far, this sketch is moving along pretty well.
this is yeah, it's a shaping up to be a pretty good show. And next we have Retirement Party, where
Mm.
we have Keenan Thompson playing a fellow named Jerry who's retiring from whatever his business is. I don't think they ever specify what the business is.
No, no, they never say.
But we have just a bunch of people, a bunch of odd characters coming up and saying odd things.
Yeah. Well, this sketch was written by Steve Castillo and Colin Jost.
Hmm.
And no, also I should also say the secretary sketch was Mike DiCenzo, Heidi Gardner, Jimmy Fowley, Jake Nordwin, and Sierra O'Sullivan. But yeah, with Retirement Party, this was kind of something they did quite a bit, like back in the Kristen Wiig time, where they
Hmm.
were having some event, and it was just like a cavalcade of people just coming up to the mic wanting
Right,
to
like
give a
speaking at
speech.
a funeral or giving
Yeah,
toast at a wedding, stuff like
right.
that.
Exactly, exactly. So we kind of get that here. The first one we have is Bowen Yang's like oddball character. He's like in a suit, but he has like curly hair and a big bow in it. And
Hmm.
he talks about his service chinchilla who got stuck in an industrial fan and was tragically killed to death. And
Yes,
how Jerry helped clean up the dog's intestines and put him in a Starbucks mug and clean up the rest, which could only be described as chum.
yes. Then we have the improv troupe Gits and Shiggles with
That's a great
Punky.
name.
That's a terrific name, and that's such a great inane improv troupe name. And I say this as somebody who used to be in an improv troupe. Um, and we have Punky, Chloe Feynman, and Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd, I was amazed because they put Paul Rudd in like a Jufro thing.
Yeah.
I was kind of amazed at how much that changed his appearance. Like that and the beard, he looked so different to me.
Like, who are you?
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that was fun. They were like, hey, we've been asked not to perform any improv, and we're not going to unless people have suggestions.
Okay, I heard a quinceanera and R. Kelly. Here we
Yeah.
go. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, just a fun, quick thing. And again, we're using the cameo people really well. They're just coming in for a quick bit. They just come in quick, boom, score, and then they're out of there.
Yeah, Matt Damon comes in as introduces himself as Matt Damon from The Legend of Bagger Vance.
Which I kind of loved. That's hilarious
It's like,
because it's
why
got
that movie?
such an obscure credit of his. And I remember that movie. I saw that movie in the theater.
Oh wow! All right.
Um, him, Charlize Theron. We had Will Smith playing a magical Negro part, who
Hmm.
helps Bagger Vance, Matt Damon's Bagger Vance, get really good at golf.
Yes, yes. I remember. I remember. I never saw that movie, but I do remember it. It was
Yeah,
like kind of like Oscar baity type of film.
kind of was. I don't remember too much else about it. I feel like there was some like distinguished older actor in it, like Robert Duvall or somebody like that.
Ooh, let me look that up.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
don't.
about right.
Yeah, I don't know if actually was Robert Duvall or just somebody of that type.
Okay, I'll find out right now. And
All
also
right,
in the sketch, Fred Armisen pops up.
maybe Gene Hackman. Could have been a Gene Hackman.
Okay, maybe. All
Could
right,
have.
let me.
This is going to drive me nuts now.
I'm looking it up now. Don't you worry
Okay,
about a
yeah.
thing. I'm on it. I'm on it,
All right.
boss.
Yeah, I can't go back to the sketch until I find out who the distinguished older actor was in The Legend of
Okay.
Bagger Vance.
All right. Will Smith, Matt Damon, Charlize Theron, Bruce McGill. Who
Was
else
it
we
Bruce
got?
McGill? Was I thinking of Bruce McGill?
Maybe
Bruce McGill from Animal House?
that must be it. I don't. The other names I don't recognize. Joel Gretsch, J. Michael Moncrief,
Oh, you know what? You know who else I think was in it? I think Peter Garrity was in that movie.
Pete, Legend of Bagger Vance.
Yeah, I think he was in
Yes,
it.
yes, he was
Yeah.
correct.
He was a cast member on one of my favorite shows, Homicide: Life on the Street. He
Ooh,
played Gardy. So Garrity played Gardy, and yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of
okay.
because he's
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking through the cast list now. I don't see any Duvall or Hackman or
nobody
nothing.
of that stature. Okay,
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, there's a bunch of people in there, but I don't. They're not like
I'm
notably
probably
rec.
thinking of Peter Garrity.
Yeah, Michael O'Neill, Thomas J. Ryan, Dermot Crowley, Harv
Yeah. Okay.
Preston.
We're in the weeds now.
Yeah, we really
All
are in
right.
the weeds. Wow, we really that went down a rabbit hole here.
All right. Anyway, we also had Fred Armisen, who came on, ranted against HR,
Yeah,
and apparently he's been hooking up with Wendy from security on everybody's desks.
yeah.
And we see,
HR is here, aka the sex police.
yeah, and we briefly see Sarah Sherman as Wendy from security, who just gives him kind of a wink and a nod. That was about all we saw her. Oh no, wait, she was in the Pilates thing,
Uh,
so she popped up a little more than I was remembering.
yeah, there wasn't a ton of Sarah Sherman in this episode, and no Michael Longfellow either, which was kind of
No
a
Michael Longfellow. No, please don't destroy. What?
no, womp womp. But in this
Uh,
sketch, we do get a kind of a reoccurring character for Kristen Wiig, Gail, the woman with the oxygen tank, who also
mhm.
wants to say a few words. How Jerry has been stealing from the company. He stole our hearts. He
Aw,
also assaulted me
yeah,
with guidance and information.
yeah,
Then Marcelo comes in. He's a guy from sales who just farts into the microphone. Class act.
sure.
And then we have Will Forte come in as this another reoccurring character who pops up in these type of format sketch. Hamilton Whiteman,
Yeah.
who you may not remember, but he's
No,
bas-
no, he looked very familiar. I was like, I've seen him do this before.
yeah, he's basically a white supremacist because he always kind of comes up and says something bit like very like I think there was like at the wedding sketch from back in the days like, oh, happy to see this beautiful pure white Anglo-Saxon marriage take place.
Okay, I didn't remember that, and he didn't really do anything like that in this sketch, as I recall. He just talked about how death is in this room, and and how like even after you die, you can feel the worms eating you. So
Yes.
he was very morbid, but I don't remember him being like actually racist or
Yeah,
white
no, the closest it
supremacist.
came, yeah, I mean the closest he said was like, that's just my 2 cents, but in this world 2 cents won't buy you much in this world ruled by Joseph Hussein Biden,
Yeah.
which was pretty fantastic. Yeah, I got a kick out of this sketch. I mean, this sketch went
Hmm.
on a little bit longer than most sketches. It's about 7 minutes, but it didn't feel like it.
It didn't feel like it. It kind of zipped along because it's mostly just people coming up and doing quick bits.
Right. And of course,
So
Will Forte's character, Hamilton Whiteman, admitting that he's the one that killed the chinchilla at the beginning of the
yeah, bringing
sketch.
it all together. Yes.
Yes. Really tying a room together.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, I another solid sketch, I'd say.
I enjoyed this. I mean, the sketches where it's like the rapid fire stream of people come up and do weird stuff. Those can be hit and miss just by their nature, but this worked pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, like I mean, we've seen sketches like this where, like you said, it's like a carnival merry-go-round of zany characters, and it can feel like you said, kind of hit and miss, or it feels like, all right, well, when are they going to wrap this up? But I don't know. I don't know. I felt like in this episode, there was like definitely a lot. There was a strong energy, like a vibe that
Hmm.
were like, I don't know, people were just like kind of on their game this
I agree.
episode.
I agree, and I'm really surprised when you said that was 7 minutes because it did not feel like 7 minutes, which is
Yeah, no,
that works in its favor.
I'm looking it up on YouTube right now. 7 minutes, 15 seconds.
Nice.
Nice, nice.
All right. Well, next we have our musical guest for the week, Raye.
Yes, she did two songs. She did Escapism and Worth It, which I believe Worth It was like also a medley of another song as well.
Yeah. I
Raye,
wasn't really familiar with her, but it was interesting. She did a little scatting.
yeah, yeah. Like, I wasn't super familiar with her either. She's from the UK, so she's kind of made a big splash over there. So she's kind of trying to, I guess, maybe break into the States, as they
Yeah.
say. And
She's doing the scatting.
yeah, yes,
It's like that.
there's a lot of that. It's like a lot of kind of jazz standard type of vibe. But then again, she kind of
Yeah.
did like kind of singing. Wow, I am the scat man. But yeah, but she definitely has. Okay, wow,
So kind of like that.
it's
Yeah.
like Randy Newman's in the room with me. Great.
Randy Newman's the first name you come up with for scat singing.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
But you know what? I liked her performances quite a bit. Like she definitely gave me kind of
I
like
enjoyed her. Yeah.
yeah, like Amy Winehouse, Duffy, if you remember Duffy.
I remember Duffy. Yeah.
Yeah, she gave me like kind of vibes like that, whereas like kind of like an old school, like I said, jazz standards type of vibe, but also kind of modernized a little bit for like modern
Hmm.
pop sensibilities. And she was like strong performer. Like this is one of those things where like a strong musical performance can really elevate the entire show, and I really think she did that. This was a total
Really
180.
pulled the room together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You get it. But yeah, this was like a total 180 from what like Travis Scott I thought did
Oh
last
yeah.
week.
Yeah. Did not
'Cause,
care for the Travis Scott.
yeah, like he was like kind of shaking the camera around to make his stuff look more exciting than it actually was, whereas Raye was just the camera was just like in a few spots and
This is what I want from a musical guest. I don't need like the huge production value that they've been leading into. I just need like a strong performer to
yeah,
sing like a cool song, and yeah, that's what I got. And yeah,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
fun.
Like all the other performers that do like all these bells and whistles to like distract you from the fact that their performance ain't great. Like a real
Ooh,
yeah, I said it. Shots fired.
yeah.
But yeah, like with her, she's just like, yeah, no, I just need my band behind me and my backup singers, and I'll
Hmm.
perform and carry the rest. And sure enough, she did. Very strong performer.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
Good
impressed by
stuff.
both her performances. Strong voice, strong singer. Thumbs up all the way for sure.
Thumbs up. Two thumbs up.
Hmm.
Nice going, Ray.
Yeah.
Um, all right, to move
What
on
just
to
popped in there, Ray?
what did you do, Ray?
I couldn't help it. I just did.
All right, next we got Weekend Update with Colin Jost, Michael
Like
Che.
a
Michael
Che.
Che following Ray.
Ray Che.
Hmm.
Okay.
So they're talking about the news of the week.
Mm.
Apparently, I had not heard about this story. Apparently, Trump claimed that Biden was high on cocaine during the State of the Union address,
Mm.
which, um, every accusation is actually a confession with these
Yeah.
people. So
Game recognizes game.
you do the math.
Absolutely.
And they were like, "Oh, so Trump knows what it's like to be high on cocaine," and when delivering a speech where you have like lots of energy at the beginning, and then they show a clip of him dancing to uh, YMCA, and then they show him just
Just fading.
petering out
Yeah.
at one of his rallies, and
Riding that train high on cocaine.
yeah, I believe it. Seems plausible.
Yeah.
Seems like a plausible theory.
Sounds about right. Joe's had a couple good jokes in there. I liked how he talked about there was a schizophrenic man who got a support dog to
Hmm.
sort of help him differentiate what was real and what was not. But here's the crazy thing is there is no dog.
Dun, dun, dun.
I like
Yeah,
that one.
I enjoyed Jay's. He was talking about how the women's college basketball has been really popular, and he said in this game uh, got a record 14.2 million viewers, which beat their previous record by 14.2 million
Uh,
viewers. It's just
yeah.
I enjoy when Jay puts on the mock sexist hat.
Yeah, we get it every episode. Uh,
It's so fun, and it's become one of the reliable things about Weekend Update. So I enjoy that.
Yeah. There was that one joke about how this summer, like trillions of cicadas will be immigrating into the United States, and
Yeah.
Biden's just letting them in.
Yeah. That was good.
I like
That was
that, and
good.
of course the one about the mouse in Portugal whose embryo was fused where they had the legs put where the genitals should be, and he's
Hmm.
just like, "Yeah, same guy," and he goes to high five Jost.
Yeah.
I
And
thought that
just
was.
as like you have genitals the size of a mouse leg.
Oh wait, no,
And
no, I don't.
it's like, no, I take that back. I take that back. Yeah,
Uh,
that they played that very spontaneous.
yes, very
That
good.
was cute.
Uh,
And
yeah,
then going back to the earthquake story that we talked about earlier, we had Marcelo pop up as the earthquake.
yeah. He came out in like a leotard with like a little Richter scale line across him, and
Hmm.
the entire like skyline of New York City balanced on his head with on
Yeah.
springs. And
And honestly, at the beginning, it was kind of like it was kind of bugging me because like they kept calling him the New York earthquake, and I was like, look, folks, the epicenter was in here in New Jersey, not
yeah,
New York. And I don't know why I'm getting possessive about an earthquake.
New York.
That's a very silly thing to get possessive about, but
New, New,
I don't know. It seemed like stolen valor.
no, I get it. Like New York's just taking claim for everything from Jersey.
That's right. That's right. But like Jost was like, wait, didn't it originate in New Jersey? And he said, well, I grew up there, but I moved to the city. And I was like, okay, all right, I forgive you now.
Big laugh from the audience, as well as should have.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we had Keenan popping up as the eclipse, which hey, may even be happening as you're listening to this on
Ooh,
Monday afternoon.
don't look up.
Um, it is still in our future, so yeah,
Ooh,
this is before the world ended.
yes.
Um,
Before it all went to shit.
yeah, we have Keenan as the eclipse, as Monday's eclipse, and he and Marcella are sort of trash talking each other.
Yeah, they're basically it's turning into like a wrestling promo between the two of them.
Yeah.
Like even at one point, Keenan says like, "What you gonna do when the eclipse comes?"
Oh boy. Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
exactly word for word what Hulk Hogan used to say back in the '80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, the two of them trash talking each other about like, "Oh, you making the earth shake? I'm bringing total darkness, brother. What do you?" And it's them going back and forth. Marcelo playing it up very big, Keenan playing
Hmm.
it up very big. Just two big personalities, just
Being
clashing.
big.
Yes,
Yeah.
being
Being
big
big
and
together.
big, brash, and bold. And then I guess at the end, the two of them think they should team up, where there's like an earthquake and an eclipse. That's like the stuff that's biblical that people could like throw virgins into volcanoes over to sacrifice to the gods.
Sure. Yeah.
And then, of course, they ended on the joke saying, don't worry, I'm sure Mayor Eric Adams has this all under control and can take it.
Yeah.
Because
He's not popular or well liked.
no one likes him at all. He's he's
uh,
trash.
yes.
Yeah, overall, I thought this was okay. It definitely plays like Marcelo plays it up big, Keenan plays it up big. Like the dialogue isn't the best, but the both of them try to make a meal out of it and make it as they sell it as hard as they can.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah. I like the gag about I grew up there, but I moved to the
that was a
city.
good gag. I did like that.
Yeah,
I did like that.
that was a good gag because I sincerely was like, hey, that was New Jersey's earthquake, man. You felt it in New York, but it was our earthquake.
Let us have our earthquake.
I forget where the epicenter was, but it was somewhere here. Um,
I believe it was Lebanon. I want to say it's like northern New Jersey. I believe it was Lebanon,
yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. It wasn't too far from us, I don't think.
Right. Absolutely.
Um, and then lastly we had a returning character. We had Kristen Wiig coming back as Aunt Linda, who would always do movie reviews and be like, and just not really get the movies, and she'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. It's she yeah. So then we have Kristen Wiig come out as her character. I don't. I've always thought Aunt Linda was. I liked her enough, but I don't know if I.
It was never one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Um,
but she definitely plays it up big. Like, oh god, like
yeah,
a lot
a
of
lot of
mugging.
slamming the desk, man.
That yeah, I did notice that. Like she kind of went to that slamming desk well a little bit one too many times, and just
Yeah,
just a lot of mugging. Like almost all mugging. Oops, all mugging.
A lot of yeah, there's a lot of if you enjoy the Kristen Wiig talking out of the side of her mouth, this is one of the characters for you.
Yeah,
Um,
and of course she doesn't like things like Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher No Thanks, and
yeah,
talks about Barbie, how that's she doesn't like that, and Ryan
yeah,
Gosling, more like Ryan Gosling.
yeah. He's very hard to make fun
He's
of.
hard to
Yeah,
make fun. I did like that joke, the Ryan Gosling
I
thing.
like that, and I liked at the beginning. She said, she just says to Colin, "Hello, Seth," and she's like, "Someone's had some work done." And then she's like, towards the end of it, she's startled by Che being there.
Like, when'd you get here?
Um, Yeah. So she thinks Oppenheimer is about the person who invented the microwave. The bear, she thinks, has a very misleading title because it's about neither a bear nor a roly poly bearded gay man.
Yes.
But she did love Paw Patrol.
So, like, out of all things, Paw Patrol,
Yeah.
quite random.
Yeah. This was okay. Like I said, it was never one of my favorite Kristen Wiig characters, but it was one that she hadn't done in a long, long time. I think her last appearance on the show was like 14 years ago or something like that as
Something
that
like,
character.
yeah, it's definitely been over a decade. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, overall, I got some laughs out of it. I wouldn't say this was a total dud for me. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. But yeah,
Hmm.
overall weekend update, not bad. Pretty strong. Pretty strong.
Yeah, decent weekend update. Didn't blow me away, but
Yeah,
decent enough. Passed the time agreeably.
indeed. Hey. Uh,
Next we have another sketch. This might have been my favorite of the week. About it.
interesting.
This is go karts. We got mother and a father. They're taking their kid to Funland go kart track. We
Uh,
got Andrew Dismukes as the kid. We got James Austin Johnson and Kristen Wiig as the parents.
oh, now Chloe Trost is there too. It's her birthday. She's their
Well,
daughter.
yeah, but she's like a reveal later
Right,
on.
right, right.
So I was putting a pin in that
Damn it!
for
I'm
now. Then
sorry.
you went and spoiled the surprise.
Damn it! I apologize. I apologize. Well,
Go ahead, summarize it how you want to.
we Christmas is ruined. I did it.
Yeah,
Uh,
but yeah, Dismukes is like, oh, this has been the great day. We went to the amusement park. We've gone to all these rides and all this and James Austin Johnson's like, well, that's good because we have a bad thing to tell you after the go karts. And
yeah,
they're just vague. They never say what the bad thing is. And
yeah,
and Dismukes is like, no, I think I'd really rather hear the bad thing now. And
yeah. But they're like, no, you enjoy this first, and then we'll tell you the bad thing.
yeah, he's like, no, I'd really feel better if you tell me the bad thing now. And then and then they realize, oh, we didn't do the bumper boats. Should we do the bumper boats and then give them the bad news? And he's like, no, I'd really rather you tell me now. And yeah, then we have the reveal, and they're like, "Oh well, let Annie decide." And we see Chloe Trost, and she's got like a sash and a little tiara
Mm.
because it's her birthday, and they're like, "You decide if you want the bad news now or later." Um,
Yeah, and it's like, and then of course it keeps escalating. It's like, oh wait, we should probably tell Sheila. We should
yeah,
please see
we
if we
should we
can.
should have Sheila over, and so like James L. Johnson gets on his cell phone and he says, "It's the big C," and he invites her over. You should be here when we tell them. So,
Yeah,
can you meet us at Funland go kart track? Okay.
yeah, and then the kid's like, who's Sheila? It's like, well, she's part of the bad thing.
Yeah. And then he's like, "So kids, how would you feel if I started drinking again?"
Which is such a funny thing to say. And then of course it's like, we're just gonna play up here. We want you to enjoy the evening or enjoy the day, so we won't tell you when we're gonna let you know the bad things. But just be ready for it, and just know
Yeah.
that we're gonna tell you a bad thing. But enjoy the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And the implication is that the parents are getting divorced because Kristen Wiig is like, "Hey, if we were like all in a swimming pool and you know and we were at either end, which one would you swim to first?"
yeah, I dug this sketch. Like it's one of those things
Yeah.
where it's like kind of a bit of a slow simmer with the sketch. Just that
Yeah,
played.
I dig it too. I think the performances really elevated it too.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Like
they did a nice job. It's rare that you see people on SNL like underplaying stuff, but they did a great job of underplaying it because
mm.
that's where the humor was.
Yeah, I wish I'd see more than when they underplay sketches because they do it really well. Like I thought,
Hmm.
like Kristen Wiig was great. The way she was playing off of JAJ was great. JJ was great.
Yeah,
And even like Mikey Day, who's just the attendant at the go karts, and we see him like
yeah,
with spiky blonde hair and a rat tail. Even he was
yeah.
good in
Because
his
I
role.
didn't notice he had a rat tail. That's
Yep,
funny.
he has a rat tail. Check it out.
Nice.
But yeah, even they were good. Like I like kind of quiet, understated stuff like this where I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean I don't know if this came from one of the writers like real life traumas or anything like that.
maybe they're unpacking some stuff.
Yeah, it's like
Um, I mean, this is the sort of thing that you can do deeper in the show because it's more of a low key sort of thing. Um, at the beginning of the show, you want the bigger energy sketches, and
right.
but you can do some stuff that's more off the beaten path deeper into the show. The next to last sketch. So
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, solid sketch. I dug this one.
mhm.
I got a kick out of it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And our 10-1, we got
yeah.
La Maison du Bang,
La Maison de Bang.
which,
Yes,
according to Google Translate, means the House of Bang.
nice.
hmm Uh,
Nice. This was we've got Ego hosting a PBS show called Sonic Pioneers, and she's doing sort of a retrospective on the '70s dance show from France. I wish we had somebody who could speak French on the show to just kind of like rate how well they did in their
oh,
French.
man. Well, I mean, Kristen Wiig is French, according to Matt Damon, so
This is true.
that's
Yeah.
true. Also, this
So
sketch was written by Sierra O'Sullivan and Brian Tucker.
okay, okay, and it's we got Bowen and Chloe Feynman. They're playing a couple. They host a dance show that's disco Euro pop, sort of like
Yeah,
kind of ABBA-y.
it kind of reminded me of like those yeah, like you said, like ABBA, like those '70s variety shows that were
Hmm.
like super cheesy, full of song
Yeah.
and dancing. Almost like if you're like all you listeners out there, if you remember the show Viva Variety, it seemed like to
Oh
be
yeah.
like one of those shows that Viva Variety was making fun of,
Yeah. Yeah.
like one of those
Uh,
like European '70s variety shows that
we've got a young boy serving
yeah,
champagne,
Champagne du bébé.
and Ego helpfully explains that in France at the time the smoking age was 11 for girls and 4 for boys.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that just because it was a small child with a cigarette, mustache, and holding a glass of champagne.
Yeah, and I just like that we had an actual small child that we're keeping up to nearly 1 in the morning.
Yes, and his line
Uh,
was "Merci."
yeah, yeah.
Like, hello,
Uh,
champagne du bébé.
so then after that, we got kind of a rapid fire, wacky characters. We got Kristen Wiig as this musician who did a
Tippy
song
Tornade.
called "Help, You're Making Me Dance."
Yes, and then it's Kristen Wiig kind of doing her funky gyrations. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very much like if you remember that one character she had
when
with
she
the
played the triangle.
yes, dude, you read my mind. It's
Yeah, she
a
was the
lot.
same moves. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's like her kind of moving her hips and awkwardly
a lot of hip
moving.
action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and saying let dance, let
yeah.
dance. Yeah, it's you
We
got to
have
see it.
Chloe
My
Trost as a singer who contracts emphysema in real time.
yes, Coco Dubois.
We have James Lawson Johnson and Dismukes as a duo.
Yes, Les Garçons du Groove, or the
Yeah.
Groove Boys,
Yes.
and they're just them
Um,
singing La Papillon.
we have Keenan as a character who he sings a song like we know, and he's like pointing out which members of the audience he wants to come back to his dressing room.
Yes, very much so. And then we have Mikey Day as a mime, Spiru, who mimes way too close to the camera.
Yes. Yeah. I like that gag.
That was a
That
good
was
gag.
cute. We're basically just seeing his head and shoulders, and we can't see most of his miming.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
And I like the throwaway line at the end that the show was canceled when the couple divorced due to irreconcilable murder.
It's a good line. It's a good line. I also like the one line where Ego is introducing herself as Iman Celeste. I wanted to be a singer, but now I do this.
Yeah,
It's a little peek into the mind of our of Iman
yeah.
Celeste.
This is kind of the fun, wacky absurdity that you want in 10 to 1 land. So
Yeah, I think like
it worked pretty well.
yeah, the first time I watched it, I was like, I don't know, this is kind of dumb. But the second,
Hmm.
which it is, but the second time I watched it, it grew on me. I had more fun with it.
There's a beauty in the dumbness.
There is a beauty in this dumbness, Let
Yeah,
dance,
yeah,
and this her just gyrating hips and
yeah. And
awkward.
then and she even shows up with the host
Yeah.
with Ego, even though
Ah,
it's like decades in the future.
yes. Let dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my favorite thing of the night, but it was decent enough to end on.
Yeah, I enjoyed the ridiculousness of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, if just not to see because when JAJ and Dismukes were dancing as the group boys and les
Yeah.
papillons, you could see Dismukes was really into it. He was like putting his elbows and shoulders into that shit.
Yeah, and then and Molly comes up out with a saxophone. That was cute.
Yes, and then
Um,
of course then Kristen Wiig pops up saying "Let dance" and does her dance,
mhm.
and that's when Ego says yeah she became a regular on the show because she was actively squatting in the studio.
Yep.
Let dance.
Yeah, cute stuff.
Cute
Cute stuff.
stuff.
And then at Good Nights, we got everybody on the stage, and they're all wearing the Five Timers jackets, even the cast members.
Yeah. Um,
So
Pretty great show, I'd say.
pretty solid show. Yeah, one of
Yeah,
the better ones of this season, I think.
I think so. I mean, before, if you asked me what my favorite or what I thought was the strongest episode was for the season, I'd have to go back and look. I'd probably say the Nate Bargatze, but I
Yeah,
think
that would probably be my choice.
this episode gives it a run for its money. I'll have to watch both, but this had a lot of stuff I thought that worked. And plus, it had like a really great energy to it throughout the whole thing. The musical guest Raye elevated the show, I thought,
Hmm.
and this was a good one. This was a good one for sure.
Yeah, solid one. And it's nice when a beloved cast member comes back and they do a nice job and
Yeah,
they get to revisit some of their old characters. We didn't have too much of that, which was nice,
yeah.
honestly.
They didn't go too deep or too much into the what you call it, the nostalgia well, and then they kind of try to keep it new and do some more fresher stuff. I mean, not super. I mean, the secretary sketch we saw already, but like
Hmm.
but the things like go karts and Jumanji and Les Maisons de Bang was all pretty new stuff. So like I
Yeah,
did like that they were kind of trying out new stuff, and also part of me was like a little afraid because like they had all those celebrity cameos in the beginning throughout the show.
yeah,
I was like, well, that although I do like that from time to time, but part of me is thinking, well, then that means some of the regular cast members are going to get less screen time for the
yeah.
which is you always run into.
And of course we didn't have a Please Don't Destroy sketch, and Michael Longfellow didn't show up at all during the show,
You
except
know,
during Good Nights, I don't think. Um, but I don't feel like they used the people to excess beyond the monologue.
y-
People just they popped up real quickly, and I didn't feel like any of the celebrity cameos ever stayed their welcome.
yeah, exactly. I don't think they flooded it too much, where they just in and I didn't feel like it was like to speak like a stand-up comedian, like when a famous comedian does a drop in and bumps somebody. I don't feel like the whole entire cast got bumped fully out
Right.
of this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but
Okay, let's see what the people had to say. We got a lot of feedback on this episode, so people had things to say. We got our friend Jacob at Dark Matter underscore 362 says, wonderful episode, 4 out of 5.
mm,
Cold opens should be banned.
it wasn't great.
Hardcore. And he says, Jumanji was Gosling holding the cue cards because Kristen wouldn't stop staring at them.
Ooh, damn.
And he says, Pilates and retirement party were the best of the night.
Okay,
Doug's secretary this time because of Heidi and Kristen's chemistry.
I agree.
Go karts, French show were both solid.
Let dance.
Uh, And then he says, I'll add that I thought the dependence on cameos for the Five Timers Club monologue shtick was getting old, but I had fun with this as well as the use of guests throughout the app.
Yeah, I think I agreed on that. Like normally, I would say the cameo thing is gets a little old, but the fact that they kind of switched it up or found like a new kind of take on it made it a little bit more newer to me.
Yeah.
So our good friend John Ananias at BurtonS92 says, "This is how you do a gratuitous cameo fest in my book. I had a better time with this than most episodes this season. Beloved familiar faces used well. 3 great sketches: Jumanji Retirement Party and Parents News. That's the go kart sketch. A dynamite musical guest and an often jubilant vibe."
Mm. Yeah.
I'd agree.
Quite like.
I'd agree.
Our friend Manette Marati at Manette M97 says, I didn't mind the cameos in the monologue or the fact that they were used throughout the first half of the show, but I am disappointed Paula Pell and Martin Short didn't jump in at any point after the monologue.
I would agree. Yeah, like I would have liked to have seen them. Like I mean, Martin Short for sure. Like he always it's so weird with Martin Short because like he's one of the few like comedic people I know that like everybody just genuinely loves. Like remember a while ago when somebody put out that article that like oh Martin Short's never been funny, and then just the internet united as one to tell that
Mm-hmm.
person no you're wrong you fucking
You
idiot.
are demonstrably wrong. Yes, I
Yeah,
do remember that.
he's like one of those guys where like boomers like him, Gen X likes him, millennials, Gen Z, like everybody from every generation thinks Martin Short is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
great. That warms my heart.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and speaking of like horrible takes on the internet, I assume you saw that thing that was floating around Twitter
Oh
where
god. Yeah.
this woman she did, I think it was a TikTok, I think it originated as a TikTok,
Yeah.
who said like, is it just me or has like SNL never hired a hot female cast member? And I was like, what?
I I it took everything I had not to retweet that or respond or I didn't want to put that even on our SNL SNL
Yeah,
network because I know what that is. I know that's just somebody saying something insanely wrong and outrageous just to go viral or
yeah, probably.
just for engagement because you get more engagement saying something outlandish than you do saying something like genuine or well thought out or clever. Like
Hmm.
and I knew what that was. I was like, all right, this is bait. This is somebody just trying to get a rise out of people or trolling or I don't want to be part of this because like I know this
Yeah,
is
that
dumb.
that probably was it. I mean, because like she says, like she like says, like, oh, like her example, she put up a picture of Heidi Gardner, and she was like, I don't know this person's name. And I'm like, well, then how did you find a fucking photo of that
Thank
lady?
you. None of this makes sense. This is all falls apart. You oh
Yeah, yeah,
Hulk
yeah,
smash.
yeah.
And like I mean I saw it.
And you know, look, I was weak, and I did respond, and you
Okay,
know, I was.
you're only human.
I think I think I retweeted it. I didn't respond to the person directly, but I was like, you know, who are these? You know, like, you know, I don't know. It's just such a wrong take,
You
and
know,
I did feel bad where the great stand-up comedian Laurie Kilmartin, who's also written for Conan O'Brien, she like actually posted. She was like, you know, you don't have to post all the SNL cast members you find hot, people. And I was like, okay, point well taken. It's
yeah,
not about that.
yeah. It's true. And also I mean, first of all, not only is it a wrong take, but it's also extremely insulting to all the female cast members ever who've been on SNL. Like, why would you even
Yeah,
say something like that? It's just wrong and stupid and dumb on every level. Like, on no level is
yeah.
this justifiable.
And I did see like Sarah Sherman and Chloe Trost both had humorous responses to that. Like I think Sarah Sherman was like, "Oh, you know, just found out I'm not hot. You know, please appreciate your thoughts and prayers at this difficult time," or
Yes,
something like that.
yeah.
And Chloe Trost, I've forgotten her response, but it was also funny as I recall. But
I think she sang that song "Beautiful" by Christina Aguilera. So that
yeah,
was it.
okay,
But yeah, I mean, it's some stuff like that just bums me out because it does work. Like it did go viral. I think
yeah.
Entertainment Weekly did a write up about it, and so she got
Oh, did they? Gosh,
yeah, like so she got like the 15 minutes of fame she was looking for. But I was just like, ugh, people are gross. people
yeah. People are stupid.
people are stupid and gross, but not us. We're fantastic.
We're wonderful, and who else is wonderful is our listeners. Like Boardman gets paid at the hot the lion,
He
the
told
hot
us,
he lion.
yeah, he told us how this is
He
pronounced.
told us, we promptly forgot, and yeah, he's going to have to remind us every week just to fix it in our heads. He says, "Hey guys, so I love this episode. The cameos were fun. Secretaries was hilarious. Glad to see Molly and jackets for all."
Yay.
Also, I saw a Target commercial with Wiig on Peacock, and I thought that was part of the show. LOL. Love you guys. Didn't see the Target commercial when I watched it, but okay.
Yeah, I think it's like a new commercial she put out where she is doing the Target lady
Yeah,
for with
I,
Target.
I heard that she did that. It's weird that they would air that during SNL.
Yeah, that could definitely throw
That
people off.
that seems like a conflict of interest to me. But
Right. No, I could see that. We also got a tweet from American Cousin One saying, "I was hoping for the Californians," and she included a GIF of the Californians, which triggered me.
yeah, American Cousin One. Don't really know you offhand, but I think I'm safe in saying you're history's greatest monster.
That you know what? Yeah, I'll go sign that. I was gonna say you
Yeah.
went too far, but I thought about it. I was like, nah.
No, it's the fucking Californians. Come
Yes.
on, man.
Yeah. Oof.
And we have Techie at Uncle Scrooge Duck without the U. Says, week open, the one bright spot was Jumanji with Will Forte. What are the worst of the year? Ooh, well,
I
Techie did not like the episode.
I strongly disagree. Like dude, we had Jacob Elordi and Dakota Johnson this year. Those were the two worst of the year. This was leaps and bounds better than those two.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Different strokes, different folks.
Yeah, it takes all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, we have Eric Coomer, who says, great show from start to finish.
All right.
So, yeah, I think it was a very solid show.
Yeah, good show. This is one of those shows that keeps me coming back to SNL. Like even though sometimes we do complain like, oh, the shows seems kind of the writing isn't as strong and blah blah blah. It's shows like this where it's like where you see what SNL can be, where you're like, damn it, I love this show. This warmed my heart. My heart grew 10
It renewed
sizes.
our faith.
Yes, my heart grew 10 sizes that night.
Yeah.
So yeah, strong episode, strong episode for sure. And
good stuff.
Yeah, and that's our episode for the guys. That's our episode for the day, guys.
And girls.
And girls and theys and thems.
Women can listen to this podcast too, Darren.
Yes, you can all. We all are welcome.
I tell him every week, people.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm like Poltergeist. All are welcome. All are welcome.
Every time before we start recording, he's like, we're not going to have any women listen to this episode, are we?
Right.
And I'm like, Darren, no, women can listen to this podcast too.
Bro, I'm trying to get that Joe Rogan.
Regular listeners are women.
Bro, trying to get that Joe Rogan demographic. Come on, bro. Trying to sell this creatine. Yeah, next week episode. April 13th, we got Ryan Gosling and Chris Stapleton.
That'll be an interesting show. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. He was a pretty good host. I love the papyrus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ryan Gosling, he's always game for everything. He has a great sense of humor. He's promoting the new movie, The Fall Guy. So looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring to next week. And Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, I bet we're going to see some sort of Ken Barbie type sketch. So that'll be fun.
Very possible. Very possible. So yeah, looking forward to that. And that's the episode, guys. Thanks again for listening to our podcast. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, because we refuse to call it X, at SNL Nerds Show. Give us a like, give us a follow. Rate and review us on the podcasting listening thing of your choice, as you do. And as
share us around.
Share us around.
Like, hey, folks, listen to this podcast. It's cool. It's funny. It's entertaining.
It's hip. It's cool. It's Noah's Arcade. And as always, you can follow me on all the platforms at Darren Credible, DARIN Credible.
And you can also follow me on the platforms at Trumbull Comic. That's TRUMBULL and the word comic.
Okay. And
follow the show at SNL Nerd Show. Did we say that? We probably did.
I believe so.
I wanted to say it again. Anyway, just to emphasize.
Yes. We got hit it again. Hit it hard.
Yeah.
And that's all we got, guys.
That's all we got?
That's all we got. So, say goodnight, Grace.
Well, we'll be back next week with Ryan Gosling. I don't think he's going to be here in the studio with us, but maybe.
You never know. Wish upon a star. You don't know.
Yeah. But until then, nerds out.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.